A no-bake Christmas Yule Log that's very simple and quick to make, and with only 4 ingredients. You can even do this if you're a bit dozy like me. So let's kick off with the main ingredient, which is 500 grams of biscuits, and we're going to need to break them up into small pieces. I'm using digestive biscuits here, but any plain biscuit will work well. I'm being careful not to smush the biscuits to dust, even though I have heavy builder's hands, and I did get a bit of cramp in my meat hooks doing this, but I got there in the end. Next, let's melt 250 grams of dark chocolate in a heatproof bowl over a pan of simmering water, rather than in the microwave, because dark chocolate doesn't like being melted in the microwave. And I also have 500 grams of Nutella, which I did soften in the microwave, just so the microwave didn't get too lonely this Christmas, and I added that into the biscuits along with the melted chocolate. And I know it's hard to believe, but we're almost done with the cake mix. We just need to stir very gently and comprehensively to coat those biscuit pieces in chocolatey, Nutella-y goodness before forming the Yuletide log shape, which I shall do on a large piece of cling film. So I stretched out a piece bigger than I think I'll need, and now I can just go ahead and dollop the mix rather unceremoniously on top, before evening out with my large blue lagoon. And the only tricky bit of this cake is coming up now as I attempt to roll the mix in the cling film to form the desired cylindrical shape, and rolling from both sides makes the whole thing much easier to handle, after which you're going to want to squeeze the mix together to fill any little gaps inside, and this step will make sure that the cake holds together when cut into slices. Put it in the fridge to set for an hour or two, and then you can get on with the chocolate ganache glaze. And this is even easier than the cake, because we just need to chop 300 grams of chocolate, and I have a mix of 50-50 milk and dark chocolate here, and get all that chopped chocolate in a heat-proof bowl. And then you want to heat 200 millilitres of double cream very gently, and keep it moving so it doesn't get a skin on, and then just pour the heated cream on the finely chopped chocolate. And if you give the bowl a little shake and leave it for a minute or two, you'll be able to stir that into a lovely, smooth, glossy chocolate ganache in seconds. And if you're extremely diligent like me, you may want to sieve the still warm ganache just to make sure there are no little bits of chocolate hiding in there before covering the whole thing until it cools and firms up a little. And while that's happening, the formed chocolate biscuit cake has hardened up in the fridge, so it's time to put the whole thing together. I'm going to make a diagonal cut in the cake to give me 2 pieces which I can place together. The chilled cake will be quite difficult to cut, so make sure you use a large knife rather than hacking at it with a small one before arranging the 2 pieces at a jaunty angle to kind of look like a tree offcut. And while I've been doing all that, the ganache has firmed up to a spreadable consistency, and I can go ahead and dollop it on top. And there is enough ganache here to be very generous, and make sure you fill the gap between the 2 pieces of the chocolate biscuit cake really well before spreading out with a knife or an offset spatula. And you could leave it like this, of course, but I like to bring in a zigzag scraper to form a bark pattern in my ganache, and I think you'll agree that this is beginning to look almost good enough to throw on the fire right now. And you can do that if you want, but I would hazard that a better use for this Christmas Yule Log would be to use it as a centrepiece for a festive occasion, with plenty of sieved icing sugar to give a dusting of snow effect, and whatever Christmas tat you have lying around to dress it up. Let it come to room temperature before cutting, and then you can enjoy it with all of your annoying family members. Have a great Christmas, everybody, I suppose. Ta-ra.